Hi, my name is Rebecca and welcome to my channel. I was at a craft show and I found the most darling, unique thing. They were flameless snowman candles and I just fell in love. But they were $14.99 for a single pillar and I just wasn't willing to pay that much for them. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I gathered up some things that I needed and I went home and I recreated the flameless candles on my own on a budget for a lot less money, and I managed to make 2 of them. So come craft with me. Let me show you what I did. These are the candles that I found at the craft festival. Aren't they adorable? So I have purchased this 100-piece little half wood bead on Temu. They had a 99-cent sale, so I purchased this package of half beads and I laid them out on a piece of painter's tape, and I used some craft sticks that I had purchased at the Dollar Tree that I had in my little craft stash, and I took some black acrylic paint and I just started painting the little wood beads. I started out with 7 so that I could make 4 for the little mouth and 2 for the eyes. And so I wasn't really sure how many that I was going to need, so I just laid 7 out on my painter's tape and I just started painting. You can use any kind of craft paint that you want for this project. I used just regular acrylic and it took 2 coats on these little wood half beads. If you have some chalk paint, then you could use that and it probably would take a lot less coats. So I took one of these little craft sticks that I'd purchased at the Dollar Tree out of the package, and I took my bandage shears that I used for crafting, and I love my little bandage shears. They are so versatile and so durable. And I just cut kind of a triangle up from the bottom, and I just kind of eyeballed it, and the shears just cut right through the little craft stick. And I did some trimming because I wasn't really happy with how my little carrot nose was going to come out. And so I did a lot of little trimming and kind of making sure that the point was more even and everything was more symmetrical. So that just took a little bit of trimming and a little bit of time to get that accomplished. And then I took my little sanding block and I get mine at Harbor Freight and the Dollar Tree, and I just kind of sanded it just a little bit so that it wouldn't be, all splintery and really rough. I've also noticed that if I sand these smaller pieces that I cut, that it helps it take its shape a little bit more than just the cutting. And I had some orange acrylic paint and a very small paintbrush, and I just started painting my little triangle. I laid it down on some painter's tape so it wouldn't get all over the place and I wouldn't make a big old mess. And I just started painting the little carrot nose with this orange paint. And I wasn't really happy with the first coat and how it was a little bit lighter than what I really thought it needed to be. So I did end up putting about 3 coats on this little carrot nose so that it would really stand out and it would take on a darker color. I did the painting on this craft first so that everything could dry by the time I was ready to start the other part of this DIY. So I pulled the tab on the bottom of this pillar candle that I had purchased at the Dollar Tree. I purchased 2. They have a taller pillar and then they have a short, more wide pillar. And so I had purchased 1 of each, and I took the little plastic wrap off from around the pillar candle, and then they put them on there really, really good. So it was just kind of fighting with me a little bit, but I made sure that it turned on and everything was working really good. And then I just started applying some spackle. There is probably a better, easier, less messy way to apply this spackle, but I just put my fingers into the spackle jar and I just started dabbing it on. I wanted it to look uneven. I wanted it to look snowy, and I did not want it to be smooth. And so my fingers, I found, were the best way to put this on. And even though it is a little bit messy, it was the best way to put this on because everything kind of went on in an uneven coat. I just worked around the little candle and putting my spackle on. I made sure that I had a clean line down at the bottom because I knew that that would be sitting in a candle holder. And I also did not want anything to affect, turning it on and off. And so I made sure that I had a good clean line at the bottom, but at the top, I wanted it to look very snowy, very rustic, and I did not want it to be even. So I did leave just a little bit of spackle here and there, just peeking out over the top of the candle. After I was finished with this project, I did leave it to sit out overnight, so it got to dry about 24 hours before I messed with it, and I just kind of let it sit down on a piece of paper on the table and just let it dry. This is a no glue gun needed DIY. So as long as you had your mess contained, this would be a ton of fun to sit down and do with your kids or grandkids and just have a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really relaxing. Once I had all of the candle covered up, the surface covered up, then I did go back and make sure that I kind of filled in the ridges and kind of build up from what I had initially done, and I made sure that nothing was showing through. I used the spackle from the Dollar Tree, and I always get my spackle there. So then once it was almost dry, I let it sit for probably 30 minutes to get a good, nice set. I went ahead and started putting in my eyes and my nose and my mouth. And this way, after it sits and dries overnight, then everything is in there nice and solid, and it's not going to fall apart and it's not going to shift around. So I just laid my little wooden half beads in where I thought they needed to be for the eyes and the mouth, and then I put the little carrot nose in there. And then I took the end of my paintbrush and I made sure that it was in the spackle really good and solid, and I made sure that the spackle that I had on the candle had kind of come up around the little wood beads and it had grabbed it really good, because I did not want, when I had this on display, for my little pieces to fall out. So I wanted to make sure that it was set inside the spackle really, really good, and it was going to stay there for an extended period of time. So these are my two candles that I made, and one is taller, one is shorter, and I was just absolutely in love. I made these for $5 for the both of them because I had some stuff in my drawer that I needed to use. But if you had to go gather all of the items, you would spend around $8 to create two of them. The inspiration piece that I found was $14.99 for just one. I'm going to keep saying that because, I love to save money, and I think these turned out just as cute and just as good as the inspiration piece. I'm in love with them. I thought these turned out adorable and darling, and I absolutely love them, and I think that they go with my winter decor so well. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so that you know when I've uploaded my next video. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching Crafts, Laughs, and Chaos.